you are a B2B service-based business owner and you are looking to gain more clients, create more impact and more revenue in your business, tune in to Amplify Your Marketing Message with Christine Campbell Rapin. Every week, we're going to take you through how to build an audience of buyers, mastering your marketing message, and making offers. Getting found is one of the most important things that every entrepreneur I'm speaking to right now is saying, it's changing a lot. It's getting harder to do this. And I was super interested when I had the opportunity through the power of my network to meet the next guest on our show today, because he's not just been doing this for a nanosecond, he's been doing this an incredibly long period of time, and he's got over 9 years in his business, and he's going to show us how the power of starting can compound to that kind of crescendo and make you really relevant in this brand new year. To our guest today, Mr. John De Jong, welcome to our show. Super excited to have you here.
Hi, Christine. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
My absolute pleasure. So I want to talk about this because when I was reading your information that you had shared with me, I was like, wow, 900 reviews. And yes, your business has been around for years, but that's super impressive. And let's talk right out of the gate why it's so important to have reviews and to make that a core principle and how you've done it so effectively.
Well, I think your clients or viewers already know how important it is. Every one of us, well, I would say this, 66% of you have looked at a Google review and seen an online Google business profile in the last 3 days. That's what we do when we're looking for a restaurant near me, or the best podcast near me, or an accountant, or what have you. We look to our phones now. When I bought this business 16 years ago, we were still paying money for Yellow Pages ads, and we still had a fax machine. But times they are changing. So Google reviews or being found online nowadays is not only a Google thing, it's also AI as well. And that's how people are going to find your business nowadays. I'm
curious because obviously in the traditional bricks and mortar, yes, it was imperative. I remember I have friends from school, my early career days, where they sold Yellow Pages and they would travel from small business to small business to get you listed in the listings. And I'm curious if you think it's as relevant to online business and if it matters at all between whether you're bricks and mortar or online in the space of AI.
Absolutely, it matters. The important thing for AI is for AI to get the information. It's called an LLM, or a large language module, and I'll try not to speak in tech talk. So, but basically, a large language module is a phone book of all the information available about your business. Now, that phone book used to be the Yellow Pages. That was the search index. That's where people looked for a business, and they would look by categories. If my dad owned an appliance business back in the 1970s, so you'd look under appliances, and then it would be found alphabetically after that. He also owned a bicycle business, so you'd look under B for bikes, and alphabetically, so there would be AA bikes and AAA bikes, so people would play games to try to get found. Well, it's exactly the same thing nowadays. For the last 15 years, it's been Google, and you needed to play the games or work with the algorithm to get found. Now it's artificial intelligence, so we have I've developed what I call AI squared. So that's my actual intelligence, and you got to marry that with artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is the tool, but you still have a brain, and you need to use that. You need to coach the tool. You need to supervise the tool. You can't just let some 18-year-old kid working out of his mom's basement, or someone, a virtual assistant in another country that doesn't know you at all, take over your marketing. That's unwise. Let me put it another way. That's foolish.
I'm so glad you said that we brought brains to school with us today, because I think that this is a problem. This is a problem. I've always gobsmacked, to use the British expression, when people think that they would outsource their most valuable thing they own, which is their brain and their voice. And when somebody doesn't get you and you haven't taken the time to, you say, to train, to model, to think about how they're showing inputs driven outputs, it's unwise. Guys, you heard it here. Please, 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 please think twice before you do that. But it's interesting that you talk about it being so relevant and relevant for all businesses. So how do you get reviews fast? Because we know we should do it. I think everybody can put up their hand as an audience member and say, like, I know I should do this. I recognize that I use it as a consumer, but somehow it's never high on the priority. And that's a misstep. So how do we get there fast?
So you're not going to get reviews fast. You're not going to get a lot of reviews fast. I have over 900. So that's about I can tell you today, it's 784 Google reviews on my Canadian site, about 60 odd on my American presence, and then 60 or 70 on Facebook. So the most important thing is, you've got to start. I was just writing an article last night, and Darren Williams is the guy who gave me my very first Google review. That was about 10 years ago. So all of those reviews we have, while 900 sounds like a lot, it started with one. Mm-hmm. And I had done, we own a sign and a marketing company, bricks-and-mortar sign shop in Victoria, British Columbia, and myself and my teammates had just finished putting privacy glass or privacy treatment on his law firm windows. And Darren said to me, "Hey, great job. Let me give you a Google review." So first of all, that was unique because most people don't volunteer to give you Google reviews. You got to ask, and we'll come to that in a second. But I said, "What's that?" And I had been smart enough to set up a Google Plus account for my business, but I didn't know what it did. But he took me around the back of his desk and logged in and found my company and clicked on the fifth star. That's one of the things you got to do, is make sure you click on the star in the far right, so you get 5 stars, not 1 star. And then he put in a description and thanking me for the great work that we had done. And that's how you get a Google review. But so first of all, you got to start with one. The second thing you have to do is you have to ask, okay, I think that you're married. I'm married. I've been married for 39 years. You know what? When I met Barbara, she didn't know me. She didn't like me. She thought she knew about me. She had some misinformation about me. And I had to ask her out, and she said no. But I didn't stop at no. I asked again and I asked again. So that's the second thing you need to do, is you need to ask more than once. We don't quit after the first time. And the third thing you need to do is you need to make it easy. So I used to send an email to my clients and ask them for a Google review. Then I got smart and I added a link to the email so they could just click on it and would go right to my Google business profile. Then I got access to later technology, and you all have this. We all have cell phones. So your cell phone has NFC technology, and that's near field connection. And so now they can just tap on a card. So if you have one of these cards, it links right to your Google business profile. And some people don't have their NFC turned on their phone, but if you're paying with your phone nowadays, you've got it turned on. So we make it really easy. They can also scan the QR code on the back. So getting Google reviews is also about making it easy. We're reducing the friction. So you may have heard me say before, you can get a Google review in as little as 3 seconds. And this is exactly how you do it. You have an NFC card that does tap or scan.
I love this, how simple this is, because it's true. And I think so often, we've said there's a big difference between follow up and follow through. And if we make it easy, we're more likely to get the result, and we have to ask more than once. And the beautiful thing, when you've had great service as a person, please volunteer reviews and take the time to do reviews for people you're doing. It matters enormously. And what I always say to my clients is it matters over a period of time. So, most people only go to what we would call recommendations or testimonials, and they know it really from LinkedIn as a business employee. And they're like, when I lose my job or when I change jobs, I suddenly have this flurry of reviews. because it's top of mind. And I said, think about the fact that if you can have one a quarter for the lifetime of your business, what that says to somebody about your longevity, your ability to stay relevant. And as you're looking at a brand new year, I've said this to all my clients, I want you tracking reviews in the first month of the year so that it's current to the current year, because that matters to the shopper, that matters to the buyer. And I love how simple this is equip yourself, get your ask on, and stay with it in order to see the results. And once we've got the reviews, you used an acronym when we were chatting earlier, and I'm curious about it, and I don't want to get us too technical in the language, but you said that you have to optimize something, a GBP. What is that?
So GBP used to be Google Plus, and then it morphed into Google My Business, and it's now Google Business Profile. So when you do a search, on Google, it'll come up on the left with about 1.6 million hits in about 1.2 seconds. And usually, if there's a very specific company that Google thinks matches your needs really, really well, it comes out what they call a Google card, and that has photographs of the business in it. It has a little map next to it that shows you where the business is, and then it has underneath it how many Google reviews they have, and then it'll have a list of their products and services. And that's what I was saying, that 66% of us have clicked on one of those in the last 3 days. So we're pretty much all familiar with it. Mm-hmm. Well, that GBP needs to be optimized. Now, people like me, I told you 10 years ago, I had this Google Plus profile, but I didn't do anything with it. What you need to do now, Google gives you 1,000 characters for you to optimize whatever products it is you sell. And if you're a service business, it gives you 300 character service, and you can have 10 services, you can have 50 services in there. And the more optimized or complete that profile is, the more Google information you're giving Google to say, hey, this person suits your needs. And then now AI is, they don't have direct access to that, but you should be duplicating everything that's on your Google Business Profile to your website as well as getting information. And everything that's in there now, when you do a search and AI spits something out, like you might be talking to ChatGPT, you might be talking to Grok, there's multitude of them out there. It spits out a summary from 3 or 4 different websites. Well, the more information you have about yourself on there, the better information it can give to the person who's searching.
Well, I know it's so easy to start it and forget it. And I can relate to, I've had a Google business profile, and that's where it's changed its names many times, and not maintained it to the level that creates the best momentum. So guys, if you're like me, it's time to take a deep breath and say, okay, how do we systematize both of these things? Asking for reviews with every client and people we're interacting with. It's not just about the paid clients. It's about your collaborative partners, the people who've seen you in work, how you show up in your life. All of those things are in the know, like, trust formula. And how do you make sure that you are ensuring that your best foot is forward? And so guys, I like systems, as you know. I would encourage you to have this dialed in as a process so that you don't miss the low-hanging fruit. Because truthfully, people are still going to, whether it's now the AI-generated search or still Google, you cannot afford not to have control over current data. And that current data should really reflect how awesome you are, because your next client is looking for an awesome service provider. So I love that we need to do this. So You also now lead me into the comment about the website, because AI is not pulling from Google, because, state and church are two different things. They don't want to pull from somebody's competitor data set. But you talk about the website. So where does the website come into it, and how do we look at a website from the perspective of search so that we get found on both platforms? Because if we want to win, we want to win on both sides.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So if you've ever watched any of my videos on my YouTube channel, you hear me talk about optimizing a website that used to be called search engine optimization. Well, I call that BSEO, because you don't need to optimize for search engines, because most people are just searching on Google. So it's one thing, but it's changed now because of AI, and Google holds all of its cards close to its vest. So AI not all the AIs have access to that. So as I said, you need to duplicate that onto your website so you get search everywhere optimization. So I'm backing off of my BSEO. It is back to SEO, but it's changed a little bit. You got to be able to be searched everywhere. So one of the more important things is it's not so much about getting your website found, but it's now about, again, optimizing, keeping people on your website. HubSpot says that the average person only stays on the average stay on a website is only 54 seconds. Now that's after a person has searched dozens and dozens of websites. But remember I told you my wife Barbara didn't want to go out with me at first?
She did not.
I had made a negative first impression. We all do it. Like, turns out, thank God she got past the first impression, and here we are.
Yes.
But it's your website. You've got 3 seconds to make a first impression on your website. So if you can have a video of yourself popping up on there, it's, for those of you who are hearing us on a podcast, that's one mode of input, which is your ear. But visual, we're all visual people. We like sunshine rather than clouds and rain, right? We like bright colors rather than dreary things. Well, when we can look at someone eye to eye or face to face, even if it's just a 2-dimensional projection on a screen, that makes a neural pathway in your brain. It makes a chemical connection. So I have on my websites something I call the website concierge, and what it is, it's a little pop-up video of myself, and it says, "Hey, I'm John. Welcome to Alley Cat Signs and Marketing. If you're looking for digital marketing, click on this button here. If you're looking for signs, click here. If you want to see our Google reviews, click here," and you can have 3 or 4 or 5 buttons on them. So I recommend putting a little video on there. There's lots of great tools out there. I happen to have some, but that's a really important thing, is getting the first impression, because you've only got 3 seconds to make it.
I want everybody to shift gears as we're cleaning house, we're pruning, we're stepping into the now to really hear what he's just said. It is imperative that you don't set it and forget it. It's imperative that you think about the human side of this combo that's happening. Because at the end of the day, never mistake. People choose to do business with people first. And
absolutely,
that's why you need to make sure it's not just I've done a website. It's not just I did SEO. It's not just I wrote my business profile with Google. It is really a recognition that I have to be effective at it. And that means that we don't do it once and forget it, but we really hone our craft, because I will tell you, you have so little time to make influence, but somebody is ready to buy. And if they're not going to buy with you, it's a missed opportunity, because they're going to go to the next. And if they just focus on the effectiveness equation, guess what will happen? They're going to win disproportionately to you, and you can control that. So step up, my friends, because I want you winning. I want you serving, and I want you not just doing it once, but doing it repeatedly, consistently, for the longevity, so that you too can be like John and say, we built this through time, and we're very proud of our reputation. And the more we can put out that curates effectiveness, truthfully, the happier your clients are going to be, because they get what they expect. And so I want to ask you a final question here, because you have been nominated and won a big award for your Business of the Year. What's working right now for you to win clients, to gain in the marketplace? You've been in the business a while, but what's working right now?
Yeah, thank you so much. So I just want to clarify that, because, I was nominated for Business of the Year for employees companies with 1 to 10 employees. We were a finalist.
Love it.
We came in second.
Okay, well, you know what? I will take that, because that's a huge accolade to be first nominated and to have won your silver award. Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah, but I think what I'm talking about here is integrity. It would be disingenuous for me to just accept that, oh, she made a mistake, and I think it's really important to clear the air. Yeah. I think when you make mistakes, it's important to clear the air. And what's working for me, and what will absolutely work for you, and where other companies, your competition, are shooting themselves in the foot, is by not responding to Google reviews. I have 900 reviews, and I have 900 responses personally written by me. not by AI. Now you can train AI, and I actually do that for some of my clients. I train the AI to speak and reply on behalf of the clients, and we can do pretty good training it in your voice. But think about this for a second. If you went out to a restaurant, and my favorite restaurant, I have a son and daughter-in-law that live in Phoenix. We were just down there. If we go to Smokin' Joe's, great rib place, finger looking good, and I see the chef coming out and or the pit boss, and he's been back there since 6 o'clock in the morning, stoking the fire, smoking brisket, smoking ribs. And I as he's walking by, I grab on his, tug on his shirt sleeve, and I say, "Hey, Joe, I just wanted to say thank you so much. The dinner was awesome. I love coming here with my family. I'm going to recommend to all my friends to come back." And Joe just turns around and walks away.
Yeah.
What did Joe just say to me? He said, "I don't care." Mm-hmm. So when you get a client that leaves you a Google review and you ignore it, you've just insulted that client. And you've told thousands of other clients that, "Hey, Joe thinks I'm okay," but you didn't reply to that. So I tell people, every sign sends a message, every review sends a message. And a 5-star review is great, but if you don't reply to it, you've just left so much money on the table. You can, even if they don't say what they did, I reply to reviews that the client, sometimes I have to track down through my database who that person was and say, "Oh, thank you so much for doing business with us and allowing Alley Cat Signs to make your new A-frame for your business, XYZ laundromat." And all those are keywords that you're able to build back into the review.
I love
it. But more than that, a negative review has to be replied to. Remember I said to you how Google allows you to put 1,000-character description for a product and 300 for a service? They give you 4,000 characters to reply to a Google review, whether it's positive or whether it's negative. Now, I will tell you that I have a 5-star rating, but I have several 1-star reviews. And usually they're not about our product. Usually they're about me and my personality, because I'm a little bit strong. I might have an opinion or two, and I might not be shy of sharing that with you, because I've got 45 years of sales and marketing experience. I'm going to tell you what I think might work better for your business. Some people don't like that. That's okay. But the better you're able to communicate and tell your client, "Okay, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I come across abrasive, or I might have made a mistake, or we were too late. I apologize for that. Let me make that up to you." And then tell your side of the story. A negative review with a really positive or clear rebuttal or explanation, you're not making excuses. Please don't make excuses. Tell your side of the story, take responsibility, and you will build much more of a positive rapport with your prospective clients, and possibly rebuild the one with that peeved off client by taking responsibility and standing up. That's what's working today, because most people aren't doing it. So set yourself apart.
I think it's a really good tip about how much space you have to seed words, to seed a response. And yes, guys, stay in integrity with your service. And, I think there's always a question, and I know there's been a lot of change in the landscape about ensuring reviews are authentic, that they're not stuff the ballots, that they are real people with real responses, and what a golden opportunity to engage with them. So I think that's a fantastic tip. John, how do people find you? How do they learn more about what you're doing, and how do they get support along the way?
Hey, the easiest way to get in touch with me is right over there, igetYouFound.com. I've taken everything that I've learned over the years and I've put it into a simple checklist to help you get found. And you can just download that. It's free. And all I ask for is your email address. And then I'll even redirect you to my YouTube channel. Everything that I teach my clients, or that I do for my clients, I will teach you how to do for free. If your business is doing under $500,000 a year, you should probably start by doing this on your own. But you can also hire us. So we have a done for you or a do-it-yourself service. Start at igetYouFound.com, or you can go to our website, alleycat.marketing.
Guys, go connect to John. The fact that he is willing to train you to get started is just a measure of his character. And I want to say thank you. I applaud you for doing that. And really, when you do start to build momentum, staying current is the key, because how to get found isn't optional. And we said it's not enough now to say, I did it. We have to do it well. And I want you to game yourself into a real commitment to 1% better. 1% better can make a huge difference for the compound effect. And it's how you stay in business and beat the odds. So, John, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you as our guest today. Go connect to him, igetYouFound.com. Connect to him and celebrate another great Canadian doing great work in the world. And guys, did you hear? Not just local, but international as well. So go connect to him. Thank you for being our guest. I'm ready to go get found and go update my Google profile. Thank you for the tips.
Thank you, Christine.
That's a wrap on another amazing episode of Amplify Your Marketing Message with me, your host, Christine Campbell Rapin. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss another great episode. And be sure to visit christinecampbellrapin.com/podcast to get a free resource on how to master your marketing message. We'll see you all